Hi guys, you have your first unit test on Friday, and I want to make sure that you are prepared. So this video is a review. Now, we're going to cover all of the topics that we've covered in class so far. Scientific method, variables, bias, water, macromolecules, enzymes, photosynthesis, and respiration. That's all of Unit 1, the chemistry of life, plus Unit 0, becoming a scientist. So let's start out with the scientific method. You are a scientist, so you have to come up with a problem. This is a specific and answerable scientific question. You want to get very, very specific. You're then going to take a guess as to what you think the answer is going to be. That's your hypothesis. Now you need to figure out what the answer is. For real, you do an experiment. Once you've done your experiment, you gather data, which you might put into a chart or graph, and then you come to a conclusion, whether you were right or whether you were wrong. Now, when we're talking about our scientific method, we also want to talk about our variables. There's three things we really want to keep in mind when we're looking at scientific data. We have our independent variable. That is normally on the x-axis, and it contains the variable that the scientist changes. It's what we are testing the effect of. We also have the dependent variable. That's the variable that the scientist measures. It goes on the y-axis. The dependent variable only changes because the scientist is changing the independent variable. Finally, we have a control group, which gives us a baseline. Now, when we are talking about bias, when we're talking about our results, we always want to keep on the lookout for bias. There are a couple of things that can cause bias. Knowing the correct answer beforehand. Getting rid of data that doesn't support your hypothesis. Or really badly wanting the results to go a certain way. Remember our McDonald's example? When you're going to be offered $1,000 to have McDonald's win the survey, you're probably going to go with McDonald's. It's going to change your results. Let's change gears. Remember our favorite molecule, H2O, or water. There's a couple of things you need to remember about water. One, water has a property called polarity. Polarity means water has a positive end and a negative end. This is what lets water dissolve things by tearing them apart on an atomic level. That's why when you pour salt into water and stir, the salt disappears. We also want to talk about surface tension. Surface tension is the tendency for water molecules to kind of stick together, and that allows small bugs to walk on top of that water. We need to know that water is inorganic, means it does not have biology's big C, carbon. And finally, water is denser as a liquid than as a solid. When water freezes, it expands. The molecules get further apart, and the ice floats. Let's talk about our macromolecules. All four of our macromolecules have carbon. They've got the big C, so they are organic. Now, proteins have the building block amino acids, and our proteins control the rate of chemical reactions. We also have carbohydrates. Carbohydrates have the building block monosaccharides, and they are our primary energy source. They're the quick burn energy. We also have lipids. Lipids have building blocks of fatty acids and glycerol. Now our lipids are long-term energy storage, right? That bear hibernating for the winter. That teacher during football season with all of the pizza. Lipids also make up our cell membrane. Finally, we have nucleic acids. Nucleic acids are made up of nucleotides. Makes sense, right? Nucleic, nucleo. And they store genetic information. That's our DNA and RNA. Let's go back and think about our proteins. Enzymes are our most important protein. Enzymes speed up chemical reactions. Right? Remember me climbing up onto the chair? Enzymes have a very specific shape. The enzyme has a substrate that goes with it. They bind together. If the shape changes, the substrate won't bind, and the reaction slows down. There are two main factors that can affect how enzymes work, and those are temperature and pH. You change the temperature or you change the pH, and you make the enzyme not work. Alright, speaking of enzymes, we have two big reactions in the body that enzymes help speed up. One is photosynthesis. Okay, that's just the plant's body, but still. Plants take in sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide. They release oxygen and make glucose that they store inside their bodies, their leaves. All of this process happens inside the chloroplast. Now, there's another process called cellular respiration. Cellular respiration happens in animals and plants. They take in oxygen and glucose. They release water, carbon dioxide, and ATP, which is our energy molecule. This all happens in the mitochondria. There's two kinds of respiration, remember. Aerobic, with oxygen, and anaerobic without. And that's about it. Good luck on your exam.